The night was shattered by a sound that didn't belong to joy. It wasn't the warm, easy laughter that drifts through a firelit room, but a jagged, grating cackle that cut through the air like glass shattering. The sound was aimed squarely at me, deliberate and cruel. A spotlight on my humiliation. The cause? My wife's sister stood beaming beside a gleaming $65,000 BMW, a scarlet ribbon tied across the hood like a crown. The keys dangled in her hand as my father-in-law, the towering CEO, declared it a reward for loyalty and excellence. The applause was thunderous, glasses raised high, admiration painted on every face. Then came the polished envelope, the official letter of her promotion, signed with his authoritative hand. The celebration roared on, champagne bubbling, pride swelling. And then it was my turn. Someone pressed a thin, crumpled envelope into my palm. Inside, a battered $2 bill and a cheap t-shirt stamped in mocking block letters. Officially unemployed. Laughter crashed over me like a tidal wave. Even my wife, trying to hide behind her hand, couldn't suppress her shaking shoulders, her muffled giggle betraying her. In that instant the room fractured. On one side their triumph, on the other my silence. I didn't rage. I didn't shatter a glass. With deliberate calm I folded the shirt, set it neatly aside and turned away. Outside the parking lot was still and cold, but inside me a fire roared hot and unrelenting. As I drove, my reflection flickered in the rearview mirror, and for the first time in years I recognized the man staring back. For 12 years I had given everything to that company. Not just labor but loyalty, faith, belief. I had started in the warehouse stacking crates, then climbed rung by rung until my strategies reshaped entire divisions. My father-in-law once clapped me on the shoulder and promised, "One day you'll lead this empire." My wife echoed that dream, or maybe she only let me believe she did. I was part of their family, or so I thought. Birthdays, vacations, late-night calls when crises demanded discretion. I always answered. I always delivered. But loyalty, I learned, is a currency that runs dry. The promotion was supposed to be mine. I had seen the evaluations, contracts bearing my name, documents praising my work. But then came the closed-door meetings I wasn't invited to, the hushed conversations that died when I entered, my wife lingering in their private councils. The final clue arrived 2 weeks before Christmas. I had paused outside the study, their voices drifting through the door. His voice smug, assured, "He won't fight back. That's the beauty of it." And hers, my wife's, tinged with scorn. "He'll just smile and swallow it like always." That night, lying beside her in the dark, I stared at the ceiling. I didn't confront. I didn't rage. Instead, I sharpened my silence into a weapon. Over the years I had gathered more than they ever realized. Emails, contracts, records of shell companies, fraudulent bonuses, insider trades hidden on private servers. I had touched every piece of their dirt, and with each one I kept a copy. Patient, precise, alone. They thought I was a pawn. They never realized I was their archivist. By December my arsenal was complete. A dossier thicker than their family Bible, every page a blade. But evidence alone wasn't enough. Revenge must wound where it bleeds longest. At the Christmas gala, as they toasted their empire, I set my plan in motion. A carefully timed email left my outbox. Not a flood but a stream directed to regulators, journalists, investigators. Each file annotated. Each thread neatly tied. Impossible to dismiss. Impossible to contain. One final message, sent to my father-in-law, bore only 3 words in the subject line. Watch the headlines. I wasn't there to see it, but I can picture the moment. His phone buzzing, his smirk dissolving as his eyes scanned the message. His voice cracking as he barked. Turn on the news. Screens flickered. The gala's cheer froze as anchors' voices cut through the air. Breaking, massive fraud allegations engulf. Company name. Leaked documents tie executives directly to criminal activity. Faces drained white. Silverware slipped. The BMW's ribbon glimmered like a cruel joke in the glow of disgrace. My wife's champagne glass shattered on the marble floor. A sound I wasn't there to hear, yet it echoes in my memory all the same. A sound of something breaking beyond repair. Within an hour, trading was suspended. Calls went unanswered. Invitations retracted. The dynasty they had built on arrogance and lies crumbled in front of the very guests they had invited to gloat over me. They had counted on my silence, on my obedience, on my willingness to bear humiliation. But silence can be sharper than any scream, when honed into precision. That night, I didn't walk away as an unemployed man. I walked away free. Justice doesn't always wear a judge's robe. Sometimes it takes the form of a family huddled in horror around a television, watching their empire collapse, knowing exactly who lit the fuse. Too late to stop him, too late to laugh. I never needed to see their ruin with my own eyes. I had already left them behind,